All right, give me 1 second. Welcome back to second recording session for the Assassin's Creed 3 Codex entries. I just have one more recording session after this, and that's to go over all of the rewards. I will not be actually reading over all the newspaper entries and all of the almanac pages like I said I was. The fact that it took me close to an hour and a half of recording time just to read the people things of the Codex makes me think they'll probably take longer to read but the newspaper and the almanacs. I will instead be showing it off once I record those sections. Go back into the base game and we will continue where we left off. I'm going to be showing all of the Codex entries that we have left. And just gonna go through one thing at a time. Battle Bunker Hill is actually kind of one of my least favorite missions of this entire game, but if you want to go ahead and read these Codex entries, feel free to pause it and read it on your own leisure. I will personally not be reading these out, but I may read it after this recording session is over. Boston Massacre is one of my favorite missions, but it's really the first mission where we really get to, well, one of the first missions we really get to play as Connor. Again, it's here if you want to read it. I personally will not be reading it. Boston Tea Party, another good mission. There if you want to read it. Siege of Boston. This is something we actually didn't get to play as. Stamp Act. Here's something I will say while I'm going through all of these journal entries. Very soon I will be I don't think there is a Codex entries for the DLC of Tyranny of King Washington, but I will be going over I think at the end of each series I'm going to be going over really the hardest achievements in the game as comparison to the easiest achievements. But because I noticed there's some YouTubers that do that, I thought it'd be kind of interesting if I did something like that, just to go do a brief overview of my achievement list. But I may end up just having a short little video at the end of the Tyranny of King Washington DLC. I just go over my thoughts and go over briefly my advice for handling certain missions and handling certain achievements. There really isn't that many hard achievements in the game. Most of the achievements I got without even trying. The only thing I will get to some problem is possibly the some of the 100% requirements for the missions, as well as possibly going through and getting the 100% requirements for each of the area. But yeah, it's probably debatable. People may find that to be the easiest part, but really people will probably mostly struggle with getting 100% requirements on the missions. But that's why my videos are for, to show you guys how I got the 100%. The frontier. Yeah, and feel free to pause this and just read on your own leisure. I will not be reading this out. But this video is really here for those people that care about the lore. It's here if you want to read it. If it's here if you want to read a little bit of history, it's here for you. But I will not be reading this out loud. Like way too long for me to read the people. Braddock Expedition. Battle of Monmouth. And Sullivan Expedition. This is something I honestly don't know. Oh, is this the thing where he went after the native tribes? I think that's what it was. Yeah. Orvier's Ride. Here's what I was talking about earlier in this playthrough. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow wrote a poem about this. Uh, but that I referenced that in my playthrough, and I was actually kind of happy that they actually referenced that Henry Wadsworth Longfellow wrote a poem about that. I actually learned about that poem. I actually read that poem as part of class at my university. It's kind of interesting to hear about that. It actually has a really catchy tone to it. So rhymey and stuff. I think the proper term is meter. I honestly don't know what Fort Stanwix is. And Battle of Fort Necessity. Okay, moving on to other. Battle of the Chesapeake. Really kind of in a somewhat of a challenging mission, my opinion, but it was still fun to do. The Beggar's Opera. Frida Paris. Declaration of Independence. And lastly, Battle of Yorktown. Okay, moving on to animals. The information for the bear. Cougar. Bobcat. And fox. I think I probably it's probably wolves is probably my most killed animal if I were to guess. And they're everywhere. But I'd honestly be surprised if it's anything else. Hunting in this game is honestly, in my opinion, one of the best forms of hunting. Although I do not like the fact that you have to skin every single animal, otherwise it'll be just desynchronized. But they use hunting again in, I believe, a Black Flag and Rogue before they kind of took a hiatus. I don't think it came back until Origin. But hunting was always kind of a fun mechanic to do. Okay, La Belladonna. The Randolph. And the naval ships. Moving on to Inventions. Again, feel free to pause if you want to read it. I will not be reading these out loud. I realized I said at the beginning of the last recording session that I said I was going to read these inventions out loud, but I decided not to save time. But these are something you have to craft as part of 100% requirements. Plus, it's kind of needed for the to get 100% in journal entries. And Joseph Presley soda apparatus. Moving on to Encyclopedia of the Common Man. It's really kind of interesting because this playthrough was actually the first time I've ever actually completed the Encyclopedia of the Common Man. So it's nice to actually have that done for the first time. Miners, tailors, and lastly, woodworkers. Mike is still working at us. So when I spoke before, I didn't see my mic picking up my voice on my monitor, so I thought that my mic was having issues. Moving on to Magic Lantern. These are all things that we read before. These are related to the underground. Feel free to pause this if you want to read it, but I've at least already, I believe I've already shown all of these at one point in the playthrough. So I will not be reading this out now. I should mention that I will be editing these clips into 45-minute episodes, considering the fact that these are long recording sessions. I feel like that 45 minutes is just the right amount of time between a brief amount of, like, I will consider that the average episode on my channel is about 30 minutes long. I do not like to have hour-long episodes, and I do not like to have episodes that are shorter than 10 minutes. So honestly, I feel like 45 is just hitting the sweet spot, where it's not too long, it's not too short. So I'll be cutting that up into 45-minute episodes. It is, I hope this isn't like too much, but again, these episodes are 100% skippable. Guarantee you that most people probably won't even watch this stuff, so it's really there for people that care about the lore. And the very fact that in my playthroughs I like to show absolutely everything you can do in the base game, I do feel like that just me uh, just the fact that I'm showing off the journal, the codex entries, as well as the awards, the last things that I have not gone over in detail in this playthrough. It just kind of just adding the icing on the cake, I guess you could say, for this series. Again, this is 1% skippable. We don't need to watch this. It's really here for people that care. Wampum. And documents. Yeah, these are all things that I showed off, and I believe I actually read on stream. And for this reason, since I'm already showing off these almanacs here, I will actually not be I'll be going over where the almanacs are found in the award session. I will not be reading it out loud, obviously, and I will not be reading it out loud in the award section. But here, if you wanted, these are actual extractions of the actual Poor Richard's Almanac that Benjamin Franklin wrote. It is here if you want to read it. Personally, I feel like that is more interesting to read the full version of Poor Richard's Almanac than it is to read these extractions, because honestly, I do kind of consider Poor Richard's Almanac to be kind of an interesting read. It's a very old book or old series, and really almanacs are, I've actually learned, and class and almanacs are actually kind of an important part in American literary history, and the fact that a lot of writers actually wrote almanacs that were actually a big part of our growth in literature in our country. Like a key example is what's that guy's name? There's this almanac that was written in the time of the Wild West by this frontiersman. I can't remember what his name is. But I remember learning about him. I just thought it was kind of interesting to read it, to hear about it. I think it starts with a C. I'm sure I'll remember it, and it'll probably come after class, but after this recording session, I mean. But almanacs do have some significance in American history, even though people don't immediately realize it. So I realized that my mic was picking up some background noise, so I apologize for that. Moving on to Poor Richard's Almanac 1736. Benjamin Franklin also was famous for writing his autobiography. It was kind of interesting to when I actually learned about it, because there was a section when he wrote about the ways to live an effective and honorable life or whatever, and he just created this method of how to live like a good life, and he ended up just try to keep up that lifestyle for as long as he could, and he ended up just kind of breaking the habit of a couple days in, which I thought was kind of interesting. I probably am misremembering. It may not be quote a good honorable life, but it was something to do with that. There was actually like a chart where he had like all these attributes listed, and he would put an X on the days that he actually followed the directions for the attributes, and he ended up just stopped following that chart a couple days in, which I thought was kind of funny to learn about in school. I'm honestly kind of glad that there is no there's no almanac pages found in the frontier. Frontier is a big place, and you have to worry about predators. It's honestly kind of good that it's only found in cities. Again, feel free to pause it and read on your own leisure. I will not be reading these out. Just really showing it off for people that care. These sections are very long. I realize it's an almanac, but still. Next one. And looks like we have 3 left. This one is done. And last one. Oh, this one's really short. Newspapers. This is nothing that was this is nothing that's available in the homestead. I will go ahead and state this here. You unlock this one for completing. I think it's in like sequence 3 or sequence 4. But whenever the Boston Massacre takes place in the story, this is when you will unlock this newspaper. This can be found in the homestead. Moving on to the Boston Tea Party, there's another story-related mission. I believe this is found in either sequence 4 or sequence 5. I think it's actually sequence 5. But you need to progress far enough so that Connor completes his training. And that's either in sequence 5 or sequence 6. I honestly can't remember. It might be sequence 6, actually. All of yours right, this is another story-related mission. This may be sequence 7-ish? Destin and Conquer, another story-related mission. May also be sequence 7. I believe if all reviewers right, Lexington and Conquer takes place in the sequence where you go after Pitcairn. Second Continental Congress is another story-related mission. You actually go here as part of the main story, and you never go here again. Battle of Bunker Hill, another story-related mission. This one is also the final battle between Pitcairn. Moving on to the Great Fire in New York. This took place off screen, but it's after you unlock sequence 8, which is Hickey's mission. This is the sequence where you first go to New York. Declaration of Independence is a part of sequence 9, I believe. Valley Forge, another sequence 9, I believe, mission. Battle Monmouth is a part of sequence 10, I believe. Battle of Chesapeake is sequence 11. Battle of Trenton, I believe, was an off-screen event, but I believe it's after you get into sequence 12, possibly. And Benedict Arnold is an event that is only unlocked once you do a completely optional side mission where you go into West Point. This is not available in the base game of of Assassin's Creed 3, unless you were playing on PlayStation 3. But because I am playing on the remastered version on Xbox, I have access to that thing. This is something that we went over in the past, so I will just show this off briefly, and it is here if you want to read it. And that about does it for the Codex. And as we're watching, the last episode is the final episode of Assassin's Creed 3 in the base game. In that episode, we'll be going over all of the awards you can earn in the homestead. And as we're watching, see you next time.